anyway. But don't let your car be the one to suffer. Bring your car to US6 Body Works, located on Highway 6 just outside of West Liberty, and let Tom, get you back on the road. Call him at 627-2342. US6 Body Works, your auto body specialist. Hit a deer? Have no fear. US6 Body Works is here.
Hello. I'm Merle Miller, owner of Hawkeye Brokerage Center in Iowa City, Iowa. At Hawkeye Brokerage Center, we focus on wealth accumulation strategies. For 30 years, we've served over 2,000 clients, including faculty and staff at the University of Iowa, Iowa State, and UNI. At Hawkeye Brokerage Center, we can show you products and strategies to help maximize your wealth potential and reduce your tax liabilities. Whether you want a comfortable retirement, a plan for education costs, world travel, build a new home, or just save for a rainy day, Hawkeye Brokerage Center has the professional experience to help you achieve your goals. Call me, Merle Miller, at 319-354-6506, extension 1, or visit us online at HawkeyeBrokerage.com.
Securities and investment advisory services offered solely through Emeritus Investment Corporation, AIC. Member FINRA, SIPC. Merle Miller and AIC do not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney regarding your situation. Is replacing that uneven sidewalk or driveway still on your to-do list? Well, don't replace it, raise it. Choose Concrete Polyfix, Eastern Iowa's premier polyurethane concrete raisers. Repair your sunken concrete in just a few hours and start using again that day. Call them at 319-535-2401 for your free estimate. Their top-of-the-line technology and equipment creates minimal mess and extraordinary results. Want fast, easy concrete repair that will last for years to come? Give them a call. Concrete Polyfix, 319-535-2401, or visit them online at concretepolyfix.com.
Hi, I'm Peter Harmon, the food guru, here to invite you to Gray's, Iowa City, for a special and memorable dining experience. We serve fabulous international food that's designed to be shared grazing style. Grazing and sharing is a fun way to experience many delicious flavors. And by the way, we also make awesome fresh squeezed martinis and classic cocktails. But don't just take my word for it. Iowa Press citizen readers have voted us the best martini for the past 5 years. Gray's, Iowa City, you're gonna love it.
From the Hertine and Stalker Studios, in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Some patchy fog around this morning, otherwise partly sunny for today, maybe an isolated storm in the late afternoon, and a high in the mid-80s. Tonight, mostly clear, low 65. And we stay in the mid-80s for the weekend, but we'll see sunshine. Chance of showers and storms returning Sunday night and Monday with pockets of heavy rain. We cool down and the humidity drops. High temperature in the upper 70s. That's your forecast on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Currently, we're at 70 degrees.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes at Walmart in Iowa City and Coralville's Hy-Vee. AllHawkeyes.com brought to you by Big Dog TV and Internet. Serving all of eastern Iowa with Dish, DirecTV, Internet, and more services. Do not call an 800 number. Call Kevin and his staff. Call local. Call Big Dog at 338-6600. Brought to you by Zephyr's Printing and Design at Imprinted Ink on the Ped Mall. By the Ox Yoke Inn. Suples, the home of 1-800-800-ROSE. Suples Flowers. Siddler's LED Supplies. GT Carr and his crew at Supple Siding and Remodeling. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for cars. Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement, and Premier Automotive in North Liberty. You hit a deer, call Premier. From allhawkeyes.com, it's Pat Hardy.
Good morning.
Take it away, Pat.
I was going to say, this is just me for an hour and a half. I want you two combined, with each other's help, name as many starters on the Iowa football team as you can. Combine, help each other right now.
Fant.
Okay?
Vanessa?
Yeah. No, he's not a starter.
Isn't
one.
he?
That's the whole story. All right, you got one. You got Noah Fant. I mean, come on. You can't
Stanley.
even name... Okay, there's two. Yeah. Folks, this is what I'm dealing with today.
Well, what do you want?
I mean, Suter, he's so into it. Feeney calls me last night and says, Suter was on Cakert's board at like 6 in the morning the other day, appealing to people about why they're going to be better in basketball than people. I can't even get him to go on my board, and he just lives on that board. John says he's on that thing in the morning from just not. He's on there. I guess you can be back in that room back.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got his computer back there. Captain, when you think he's on there pushing sales, he's on there pushing his knowledge on Cakert's board. This was like at 6:15 in the morning. He was having this discussion. He was having this argument with Iowa fans about how good the guards were. I don't know. I just find it kind of funny.
Parker Hesse.
Well, you just read something. I just saw you read.
No, I got a text.
From somebody naming off
helping
names.
you?
Somebody naming names. For,
I've got the roster here, too.
All right. Now, you guys I'll give you credit.
No, I got a personal text. It had nothing to do with this.
How'd you think of Parker Hesse?
Huh?
How'd you think of Parker?
Because I remember, I've been sitting in this thing. Epinesa.
He's not a starter. We just discussed that 2 minutes ago.
I was reading my text.
You really are. You really will have it rough today.
Oh, well, we don't need to talk about Hawkeye football the whole time. I mean, we still have 2 weeks. We still have 6 shows before the season opener.
All right. Plus the 2 Saturdays.
I mean, John and I will have plenty to talk about tomorrow. But
He doing both hours?
Well, I said something to him last night. He wasn't aware, but you guys were going to let him aware on Saturday morning. He's like, do they ever? I said, I
got a lot of crap on my mind.
No, I just find it's funny because you guys never remember to ask him but he does have the time to do it this Saturday. Because he said, I should I'm like, just be prepared. Suter's gone about every other weekend. Just be prepared.
After he gets back Thursday or whenever whenever the plane lands. He's not gone till Christmas.
Where's he going Christmas?
I don't care. I don't
bowl
know.
game. I mean, if they go to a bowl game.
He's got a wedding he's got to go to, I think, in November.
A wedding?
Oh, yeah, he'll be
like
gone. Is that one of those where he's gone for like a week?
No, I think it's a weekend.
Yeah, it's a weekend.
This is kind of an extended weekend out in California, right?
Well, it's an extended weekend that lasts a week.
Because he's gone. Well, yeah, because he's gone Friday. He told me he's gone Saturday. He told me he's gone Monday, and he told me he won't be back till next Friday.
Right, because he's coming back Wednesday.
Thursday.
He's coming back Wednesday. So
he won't make the plane. Thursday. Will be delayed. He won't get in till Thursday. You watch.
Yeah, probably
he watch.
Right.
It does seem to happen that way.
He gets out there no sweat. It's coming back. That's
he got into Oakland last night at 9:30. Immediately got off the plane. Got on the internet and started
Cakert's board.
Sure.
I'm sure he rushed right to Hawkeye Report and got on Cakert's board and tried to argue with everybody about how they're going to be He's way stronger with his opinion on how good they're going to be on their board than he is here.
I'm sharing the office with him. He's reading your board all the time.
No, he's not.
Yes, he does.
My board's dead compared to that.
He doesn't.
No, he'll read
one to argue with.
He'll read my board for content. He goes to Cakert's board
to fight.
To be appreciated. Yes, I think
or to fight.
I think he likes because there's people there. Oh, Suter, man, I love your optimism, and I think when Tom gets that
I
makes
think
his
I'm
day.
going to go on your board as Sam Tudor.
Feel free, especially if you pay the $39.99 to get there.
Didn't I?
I don't think so. Suter's on there. I don't think you're on there.
I thought I was on there.
I don't even know how to get you on there. I'd have to ask our tech person.
Get the station credit
card.
No,
I thought. I
don't think you're on there. Suter's on there. He's got
Wasn't
this big.
I on there
he's got this big smile. His icon, his pictures is a big happy smiley face of himself. He just it looks like after the Ohio State game. It's a really happy expression.
That's when he took it.
That's when he took it.
No, I thought I was. I seriously thought I was.
But I mean, my board, like I said, my board is more where I put. I'd love to get more discussion on there. I'm not a big message board person, so I don't do the best job of spearheading the. I'm just not a message board.
Your board is more, for lack of a better word, intellectual.
Well, my board's also where I go and put stuff that's not necessarily going to make it on publication. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I've had on my board. I mean, like the Ryan Boyle situation. I had that on my message board 2 weeks before it became public. There's stuff that I'll put on the board that I'm not comfortable going public with, but that's what those people pay for, is to get that stuff. I mean, I had stuff on Christian. I've had a lot of different news bits that have been on that board that don't necessarily ever go public because they don't get to the point where they can be published, but they are stuff going on behind the scenes. It's where I got to give them something extra because we try to make a lot of our content free because more and more places now, can't find much free content anymore. I mean,
no, it's a good board,
Omaha
but there's not the cannibalism.
But that's
going
what
on
Kakers. But that's what those
Kakers
people like Suter and them.
Yeah,
I know he would. I think Suter's one of Tom's most devoted. I think he's on. I bet if Kakert did a top 10, who's on his board the most, I bet you Suter would be in the top 10.
What about no stems, no?
No. There's a group of them over there, but I bet Suter would be in the top 10. I bet you he's on there 2 to 3 hours a day. Would be my guess.
He's not on there 2 to 3 hours.
If I had to guess, I bet that's not.
No, he's not out of here 2 to 3 hours.
When you were out in the old place in Coralville, I'd always walk from behind him, and he was always on that board. But I tease him about it. He was constantly on the board because that was before I had started allhawkeyes.com. But I'd look over his shoulder, and he was. I'd be like, "So what's going on in the freak show?" Then he'd like click to another, Then he'd hit his computer and he'd get on.
There's a sales grab.
Yeah, then he'd right away. Oh well, no, I'm just. I used to tease him about that all the time. But no, you guys did. You got 3 starters. I'll give you Parker Hesse. You got Stanley. Do we know his first name?
Nate.
All right. Yeah. Wow. Hunter said that with arrogance. He was so sure of himself. He did okay. And then the first one you got was
Parker Hesse.
No, Noah Fant.
Oh, Noah Fant.
He said Noah Fant right away. Okay. Come on, think. Just think. Try to get 5.
All I can think of are the guys who are playing in the NFL now, like James Butler.
They don't count. They're not on this
I know
team.
they're not
Come
on
on,
the
just
team.
Think. Can we get one more before we really dive deeper into the Hawkeyes? You got 3.
Who's the punter?
Nobody knows.
They don't really know right now. That's an either or.
They really
don't. I mean, I have a feeling it's going to be Ryan Gersandi, the sophomore. He had back issues last year, but when he did punt, he looked better than Rastedter, and he's listed ahead of him right now with the Orr, and I think that does matter a little bit. But no, punter's that's a major situation.
And that's such an important part of the game.
Well, especially for a team like Iowa that's not overly explosive ever, and it relies so much on field position and tempo and ball control. Yeah, punting's huge. I mean, punting's probably, to me, the second or third biggest. I've written this, and I wrote it. I mean, offensive line, number 1, then either punter or linebacker right now going into the season. And a lot of people are like, oh, we got great young linebackers, and everyone's writing great stories about the linebacker. We don't know a thing about these linebackers. I mean, they haven't done anything in scrimmage plays. They
real competition.
They've played a little bit on special teams, some of them, but as far as being every down linebackers, they haven't done anything. So you can't proclaim greatness or failure. We don't know. It's an uncertainty right now. Now, I think it's pretty apparent that there's going to be a drop off from a unanimous first-team All-American and 2 other 3-year starters. I think we're not going to see the same level of performance at linebacker. I'll go out on a limb and say that. But, I mean, that's no knock on the new guys, but, I mean, Josie Jewell is one of the best linebackers in the history of Iowa football.
Oh, yeah.
These new starters aren't just going to pick up where he left off. Same with Bo Bauer and same with Ben Neiman. I mean, I think Ben Neiman, he wasn't as good as Josie in college, but I think Ben Neiman's got a chance. Wouldn't surprise me if Ben Neiman played as long or longer than Josie in the NFL. I think he's going to be really good. And he's playing well for the Chiefs right now.
Yeah.
Saw Josh Jackson had a pick 6 last night, and I watched him on 2 other plays where he made just really nice, just made a great play to deflect the ball away from the receiver. His timing and position was impeccable, and he looks. he made it almost look easy a couple. Now, granted, that stuff at the end, it was 34-14, and I think some parking attendants were in it by that time of that game. Most of those players that were out on the field probably aren't going to stick in the league, but he just looks like he belongs out there, and. Part of me is happy for him, of course, because he's a Hawk, but as a Bears fan, I'm not real thrilled with that because it looks like Green Bay got a nice second-round pick.
Yeah, but the Bears are looking like they're going to be a pretty good.
If they can win, if the Bears win 7 games, I'll be pleasantly surprised. That'd
really?
Be 7, and I mean, what are you basing that on?
I don't know. I think I'm being optimistic. And I'm a Packer fan, so I could care less. But I'm optimistic with the coaching staff. The new head coach.
I don't really know enough about him. Hell, what's his name?
I can't even.
What is his name? I don't know anything about him. I know he's a former coordinator. I'm not a fan of Mitch Trubisky at all yet. I haven't seen.
They haven't had a coach with a lot of personality.
Well, they had Lovie Smith for 10 years.
Yeah,
and
I think they just need an infusion of a guy.
I would agree with that.
With a guy like that, and they played pretty well in their first exhibition game.
A lot of it's going to be what Trubisky does, and I'm still not sold. I just have not seen enough from him to make me think that he's justified where they picked him and who they picked him over. I mean, I'd much rather have Deshaun Watson than Mitchell Trubisky, but we'll see. You got to make do with what you have. I think they got a good running back. I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's just nice. Football is here. I mean, Tom Brady, the Patriots already won a game last night, and he's already this Brady's he's better than everybody. And I mean, they're raving about his 172 yards. I watched one of them was like a 60-yard screen pass where he basically handed the ball off to the guy, and the guy ran into the end zone, and then Brady gets credit for being great.
Exactly.
It's just funny how that works sometimes. We are in a situation now between sports and politics where everything is a heated debate where they're either on this side or you're not. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, love Trump, hate Trump. Tom Brady better, Aaron Rodgers better. One or the other. There's just everything is such a confrontation, and it's so divisive.
I think it's
everything.
That's the way it works in social media.
And
I think social media has brought that about.
Yes, I agree with you totally. And Donald Trump is great at social media. You got to give him his due.
No,
he's really good at social media. Which I mean, I wish he was better at some other things. I mean, he's good at. I wish he wasn't as attached to social media as he is, because I do think the Twitter thing is really. It's amazing how it's become his main weapon right now, and his masses love it. But the sports part of it, it's just. I get on there all the time, and like these Skip Bayless and all these talking mouths. All they're doing is arguing about who's better than who or who's right on something. That's all it is anymore.
I know, and that has no appeal for me. Tom Brady threw a touchdown pass yesterday. Great. It's an exhibition game. These guys are not. The guys that are in there are second and third stringers who are trying to get a place on the team. Well, in the first quarter,
and Tom Brady's great. Don't get me wrong; he's one of the greatest.
He is
but
great.
To say that he's just hand down's the greatest, no question asked, no debate, is ridiculous. And you're based it on Super Bowls. Terry Bradshaw's not, I don't think, any better than Fran Tarkenton. Terry Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he did.
He had better teams.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the arguments are just ridiculous. And the LeBron James, Michael Jordan thing, you go on that Skip Bayless's Twitter timeline. I don't know why I did it the other day. I did. I don't follow him. But I did go on there to see if he was commenting on something. And all it was about 5 or 6 tweets still about Michael Jordan being better than LeBron James. And we're in August. And he's still arguing about this stuff because there's such a debate between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Who cares?
I know. And what was the thing on I think the Daily Iowan did a story about Colin Cowherd.
Because he said Stanley's the best.
Making Nate Stanley one of the top 10 quarterbacks.
I love how when Cowherd says bad things about Iowa, ignore him. He's an idiot.
Right.
Nobody cares. Yeah. He says something good, and everybody brings it up.
Brightest guy
around. He says.
I mean, who cares?
This is like the whole fighting over musical groups or songs that are good or bad. There's really no. There's
no. You're right. And I will say, when I did that thing about drummers the other day, I was going to get ready to tweet to be like this. Had a lot of great recommendations, had a lot of great debates and whatever I had some good feedback. Yeah. But I was surprised that not one person disagreed with me about John Bonham.
Right.
But before I got ready, all of a sudden I got a couple Neil Peart
from
worshipers.
Rush.
And huge. Yeah. This one guy was like, you can't even compare Rush and Led Zeppelin. I'm like, I know. But he was thinking the other way, that Led Zeppelin, I had never been in an argument where somebody was looking down at Led Zeppelin on behalf of Rush. It was like a head rush.
Well, I don't know that you have to.
I don't dislike Rush.
But I don't know that you have to compare the bands.
Well, this guy took it to that level.
Compare the drummer.
He's like, Neil Peart is head over heels better than John Bonham, just like Rush is to Led Zeppelin. And I was just, okay. I mean, that was just one of the weird. I've just never
doesn't make any sense.
Now, I will say I'm not completely qualified because I have not listened to a lot of Rush. I never liked them.
He's a great drummer.
Today's Tom Sawyer.
It's a whole different style.
I know he is a good drummer. I will give you that.
Well, and I think that's how you got to compare. You can't compare him in groups.
Although his mind is not for rent.
Call me the working man.
Hello.
I like these sports talk shows where you got 2 guys yelling at each other with their chest pumped up, and then they got a bombshell in between.
Yes.
With their head going back and forth like she's at a tennis match. No clue what's going on.
It is funny how the girl in the middle
is just... who is that girl on Undisputed? What's her name?
It's like straight from Baywatch to ESPN. Yeah. That's really what it's like. Seriously, that's what it's like.
You, on Baseball Tonight, there's one gal that travels around us, baseball, and she's good. she's a bombshell, but she knows baseball more than she knows her looks. But that's
Good.
the only one.
Yeah, and that's she's the whole package.
You know who
then.
ESPN's bringing back?
Who?
Berman.
Chris Berman?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so tired of him.
Hey, you know why Rush had to quit doing concerts?
No.
Because their drummer, that's an hour-and-a-half workout. And it's just too much for him, he said. He wanted to keep going, but they just said it's incredible. It's more than any athlete could do.
Oh, I could imagine that.
Yeah.
Do this. Just do this. For
yeah.
him. And isn't he like in his 60s now, Neil Peart? He's got to be.
And and he didn't play like the Stones drummer, just sitting there keeping the beat. This guy was all over it.
No, that's a good point. And John Bonham died at 32 or 30,
Right.
so John Bonham never. And John Bonham was struggling at the end.
And
too.
so is Keith Moon.
But I think John Bonham. I don't think Neil Peart was ever. He doesn't have near the reputation. He doesn't have any reputation for being a wild man, does he?
No, and he lost his wife and his daughter, and he's had some real tragedies in his life the last few years.
That's interesting, though. I mean, that would make sense.
They had a meeting, and he said, "I don't know if I can. We can do half concerts," and they said, "No, we can't do that." That was the issue
because they would play 2-3 hours sometimes.
What about the one-armed drummer at
Def Leppard?
Def Leppard.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah.
Not a Def Leppard fan, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have a good day, guys.
All right, thank you. That's interesting, though, about Rush. And I don't want to sound like I'm not. I have always acknowledged that Neil Peart. Enough people have told me the guy's incredible, so I haven't. But the times where even the songs by Rush I don't like, he's in the back just going nuts on the drums. I mean, like that Tom Sawyer crap. I mean, his drumming is all over the place. I just don't like the song and that guy's voice.
Oh, Geddy Lee. Yeah.
And does he not look like the witch from The Wizard of Oz?
Yes, he does. And the older he gets, the more he looks like him.
Best thing Geddy Lee did was with the McKenzie brothers. Take off.
To I did like that. That was good. That was good. But they've got a few, like Fly By Night. That's the first Rush song.
Closer to the Heart's a great song.
That's the first Rush song
Radio.
I ever heard.
Spirit of Radio,
Spirit of Radio.
That one, that was the second Rush song I'd ever heard. But no, finally I got some people saying, and they were just like, John Bonham doesn't even belong in the. And I'm just like, please. I mean, and I'm biased. It's all biased.
Yeah, but you listen to When the Levee Breaks, and they've got him mic'd in the foyer of Mick Jagger's mansion. That's where that sound comes from, and they hang a mic like a story up, and that's the only mic, and you hear that sound.
And he was probably drunk.
Just incredible.
And then if you just listen to Led Zeppelin 2 from start to finish, after you're done, you're like, wow. I mean, it's just incredible what he could do. But no, that's what's good with Twitter, though. You can really get some good feedback, and people have the right to their opinion. But it was, I mean, some guy was insisting that Tommy Lee was better than John Bonham, and I'm not going. But I'm
Tommy Lee.
Isn't he a drummer?
Yeah.
But. What would they base? I mean, seriously, what would they base that on?
That's their music.
Because he does that big drum solo in the shows where his drum kit rotates and he's up in the air. It's all flash.
That's not drummer.
No.
Is he Motley Crue or Guns N' Roses?
Motley Crue.
Okay, I get them all mixed up. Now, Axl Rose is Guns N' Roses, right? But he's not a drummer.
Yeah. The guy that the drummer for the Pat Travers band, I saw them at the height of their careers, and I think his name was Tommy Aldridge. He was a great drummer, but he was good at those solos, where they always do those in the middle of the shows, and he was really good. But it's a body of work.
Well, John Bonham was so good that Led Zeppelin stopped without him. I rest my case.
That is really something.
I just think that they were afraid of what their sound was going to be without him, and they did it out of respect for him.
And Keith Richards says there's only one irreplaceable member of the Rolling Stones, and it's Charlie Watts.
Yeah. And I think that's for on and off the stage. I think, like Dirk said, I think Charlie Watts did a lot for that band off the stage to kind of.
Oh, he does.
He's the calming influence.
Well, he does all the artwork, and he because he was a designer.
Well, I think in the day, if somebody needed to remove the syringe from Keith's arm, I think it was Charlie, wasn't it? Lots of times, and he'd put the little lid back on it to where it wasn't dangerous anymore. That's what Charlie was there for, wouldn't you?
And he had a little bit of a heroin addiction in the mid '80s, right when
he did. Hey,
Dirty Work came out. Well, Roddy Wood is on crack. Keith is doing whatever he's doing, and Charlie's on heroin. and they want to go out on tour, and Mick Jagger goes, "I'm not going out with you guys."
Imagine that, though. You got somebody on heroin, another one on crack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you like that, Cap?
Like if Molly was on crack and
Richard's on heroin. You imagine Richard on heroin?
Oh God!
And that almost broke up the band because Keith was so mad that they wouldn't go out on tour. And I think, in retrospect, and I've read articles about this, that's may have been what saved the Rolling Stones, is not going out on tour.
It'd be better if Richard was on crack and Molly was on heroin.
Yeah.
I think that would. You think that would work better here? The dynamic.
What about Lang?
Lang would be on roofies. He'd be roofing himself.
Hello.
Yes. I once heard Charlie Watts, I think it's about 70, in the early 70s, say he thought everyone did speed in the morning and heroin in the afternoon. I don't think he's a little angel somebody's trying to make him out to be.
No, I think compared to his band comrades, he's more relaxed.
I think he's settled down
more
over
stable.
the last 40 years.
His wife's 80.
Yeah, it's
incredible.
He's 77.
Yep,
Yeah.
He's 77. They could be doing exercises with my mom down on Grand in Des Moines.
I think the best story was Bill Wyman. Bill Wyman married this lady that was his age, daughter. Bill Wyman's son married the mother.
Yeah. I know. How do you figure out who's who in that relationship?
That's the one where we do joke.
More screwed up than that.
Yeah.
With Bill Wyman, you can't exaggerate the joke because it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
God.
he married his wife's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
She married
Mandy Smith was like
Mandy Smith,
16 or
17.
And his son got chummy with the mom,
oh, Jesus
Well,
Christ!
that's keeping her in the family.
who was still way younger than Bill Wyman.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Captain?
I don't think of that much.
Yes, you're laughing about
That ain't right.
No, that was
Thanks, caller.
That was messed up.
You think?
No, he was he like my age? Was he in his early 50s?
Wyman?
When he was the 17, or was he in his 40s?
He was in his 50s.
I'm trying to picture myself.
I know.
don't
hanging
know
out
how
with a
you would-
17-year-old.
I don't know how I would. I'd blow my brains.
I don't know. I think I would.
Yeah.
I think I would kill myself, and I would hope the 17-year-old would kill himself hanging out with me. I mean,
You want them to say, "Get away, old man."
I mean,
It's Oogie.
it's
Yeah.
really it's Oogie. I don't care if you're the Rolling Stones or what.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a really creepy situation.
Yeah. Nugent's in his 40s and marrying 16-year-old.
He's older than me. He's in his 60s now, though.
Yeah.
Was he in his 70s?
Claiming,
Probably his 70s.
kids aren't his kids. He's a piece of trash. Hello.
Welcome to
Hey, Rick Dallin from Def Leppard. That
Yeah.
one-armed
That's
drummer.
That's who we were talking.
That's who we
about.
were referring to. We
Oh,
just couldn't
yeah,
remember his
okay.
name. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
That is pretty amazing. I've seen him, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
With the
Yeah,
one
because they play a lot of music where he works hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
they rely on drum. I know them enough to where
Yeah.
I just never really got into them. But man, in the mid '80s, they were huge.
Oh yeah,
They were huge, and they had that name Def Leppard. It was sort of like Led Zeppelin,
right. Well,
You
they
know,
went. They played at the Quad Cities ballpark with Bryan Adams. And
Boy, what an extreme that is.
well, yeah, Bryan Adams opened and did a great set, and then
Why do
Def
you
Leppard
hate
came on.
Brian?
That's just.
Well, he got pussified.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's heavy
Yeah.
metal and wuss
Yeah.
music.
Yeah, he got pussified, but
Summer
I do like
of
Summer.
69.
I like that song. I like that song.
Doesn't he have something when a man loves a woman or something?
Yeah,
like that? It's
yeah,
just-
yeah.
that
Someone's
was-
on a harp in the background.
that's not good.
Suitors in the back crying.
I could have just thrown up.
I love it. Suitors. Well, I like Bryan Adams. She says that with kind of a little. He gets a little mad when I criticize Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
But I've just never Cuts Like a Knife. Summer of '69. What's another one?
The duet he did with Tina Turner,
About
"It's Only
Time.
Love." That's a great song.
I'm sure I've heard that. So
Yeah, this time.
This time, yeah. It's about time. That's that damn sitcom on.
God, the one that they just basically took the Gilligan's Island set and say, "Hey, let's be spacemen."
Yeah.
But since we're talking music,
and
though,
get Joey Smith as what's his name?
yesterday,
Joey Ross.
Joey Ross as the caveman.
yesterday
Did you
I
ever see that?
No. But I did spend a lot of time yesterday reading up and listening to Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
And because I just forgot all the good stuff. And boy, what a story. Happy and sad. She had a kid at 12.
Yeah, and then
she had her
again
second kid at 14.
Yeah, again at 14.
I mean, she had a interesting life. I mean, her father, and what's funny is Smokey Robinson, her father was a very successful pastor. I mean, world renowned. And they lived in this huge freaking mansion in Detroit. Smokey Robinson said everyone loved to go to their house because it went on forever.
Right.
I mean, he was pretty successful. I mean, sounds like he made a lot of money.
Well, he contributed to Martin Luther King's civil rights movement. Anytime Dick Gregory, the comedian, was on an interview saying whenever they were short of funds, they just made a phone call to the Reverend Franklin, and the funds were there.
Well, and she contributed.
She did as well,
and went with Dr. King to all the rallies, and if Dr. King was short of money, she would
pull it out of her purse.
The money,
The purse was always underneath the table.
She would not fly, and she would not go into buildings higher than the 8th floor.
stories. Yep.
Yeah.
That was all the and she quit flying, and I think they said in like '84 something happened.
Yeah.
And there was a neat story yesterday about when they were staying at the Waldorf Astoria, her and some other performers for some big event. There was this weird smell in the hallway, and it was her cooking
grits
and chitlins and all this stuff. And they said she was the best cook. But no,
she loved to cook for people.
And I loved all her music, but I still say one of her most underrated songs, and it was big when I was in college, is Who's Zooming Who. I love that song.
Yeah.
Great song.
And I never heard one person when they were asking people their favorite songs, nobody brought that up. But that would be, I mean, of course you've got Respect and Natural Woman, but I think Who's Zooming, because that was out, in the mid-'80s? I mean, she was in her 40s then.
Yep.
And her peak had sort of passed by then, but she came out with that, and that made a lot of money.
Oh, it
showed her
shot
versatility.
up the charts, and she was on MTV with the thing, and
you ever hear her version of Jumpin' Jack Flash?
Oh, yeah.
She played with Keith Richards. That's pretty great.
But and what's weird is that she died on the same day as Elvis Presley.
You know,
what I found out later was Babe Ruth died on that day too.
Yeah. Is that right?
It's a coincidence, but it is kind of creepy when you think about it.
I put something on Facebook that God didn't call Aretha Franklin home on
Elvis
the same
did.
day he did Elvis. For our convenience,
yeah.
And people were arguing.
It was a neat. I saw a neat tweet from Lisa.
You were provoking. You were trying to provoke.
Well, it's so stupid. You know, the king of rock and roll and the queen died on the same day, and they're trying to make something
like royalty.
Well, I think it's a neat coincidence.
A neat coincidence.
That's how I would describe it. Yeah, I don't think it's worth fighting.
But there were like 100 million other people that die on the same days.
Lisa Marie Presley tweeted that that day has always been sad for her, but now it's even sadder with Aretha. Then she goes on to say that Aretha was her inspiration to sing. Never mind that her dad, was one of the greatest singers of all time.
Well, I didn't even know Lisa Marie Presley sang. What does she sing?
Oh, yeah.
Has she?
She's had a couple. I don't even remember what they were now.
But she hasn't made her living as a singer, has she? She's made her living just being Elvis's daughter, right?
Yeah, and the executor of the estate. I'm
sure that still pays her enough money to be a celebrity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I did not realize that she sang, but no, it was the coverage was extensive. I mean, it was interesting. It was just, and
she was married to Nicolas Cage.
Okay, Aretha Franklin was on a small aircraft that hit turbulence.
Yeah, they said that she got really scared
and she said that's it.
Yep. And the reason they kept all their money is because a lot of the black performers back in the 60s and stuff, they'd go down south. They wouldn't get paid.
No, they get
it James Brown?
Yeah.
I think it was either one of them just told her, hey, this is how you do it. You get your money up front.
Well, and James Brown learned that from Chuck Berry.
And he'd literally she'd put it in a purse and lay the purse underneath her piano, and that purse would go over whether she because they wouldn't pay him.
Listen, I mean, a lot of the stars, when I was a runner for some promotion companies, I would give them. They had a specified amount that they were going to get right out of the door. And, you give it to them, you count them out for them. And, I mean, the rest went in the bank to be dispersed. But you handed them their cash before they went on.
It makes sense because I'm sure a lot of them did get stiffed down south. And what are you going to do about it? Complain? The next thing you know, you're getting killed.
Well, you go through that the whole time. You're playing for door money, and they, there's 500 people there, and you only had 250 people here. Prove me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that pissed me off, and they had Barry Gordy on last night, and now that he's old, People revere him and everything, but he screwed a lot of artists.
Oh, he sure did.
He just
because he kept all the rights, the royalties.
Kept all the rights, the royalties. Didn't pay them what they had.
What's he worth?
Agreed to.
What do you think he's worth right now?
Oh, look, he's 88 now.
What was she worth? Did you ever look that up? What she was worth at the time? Look that up and see what she was worth. I was wondering about that yesterday.
While he's doing it, Ivory Kelly Martin.
There you go. He's not a starter though. It's Torrin Young.
He's not starting this year?
Torrin Young is listed as the starter.
I give up.
But Ivory Kelly Martin he will play a lot. I mean, but right now they list Torrin Young. But in the future, Amir Smith-Marset,
right?
Brandon Smith.
Between 60 and 80 million.
Who's that?
Aretha.
Okay. Wow. That's not bad. I thought she might be worth a little bit more, but she hasn't
gave
made
away a lot.
She did, and she hasn't made a lot of money recently. I mean, but what's he worth?
All those artists got just a huge influx of extra cash when the CD format came out.
Did they realize? Okay, I was not aware of that.
Because all of that stuff got re-released, and people, started ditching their vinyl and replacing it with CDs.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
Just think of the day that all the Beatles stuff came out on CD, how much money they made.
Well, that's why I've always thought it was unfair to compare record sales for bands in the 90s and 2000s and now compared to the 50s, 60s, because back then there was only so many ways to purchase.
That's all there was.
I mean, like people will be like, Pearl Jam outsells everybody. But that's a tough read because things were so much more difficult to get music back in the 70s. You had to go to a record store. I mean,
right, that was it.
Berry Gordy was worth $345 million.
Wow.
He did. He screwed a lot of artists, and the artists don't talk about it now. He got old and he's revered, but a lot of the artists, Little Eva, the Locomotion, number one. And that's Carole King and David Geffen and
Jerry Goffin.
and they screwed her.
I didn't realize
$50 for it.
I didn't realize Carole King had written Natural Woman, and the circumstances. They basically gave her and that other guy one day to write it, and they came up with it. And then you saw the video of her playing and Carole King in the audience about ready to have thought she was going to faint. That was, but hasn't Carole King done something to piss you off, Captain?
Yeah,
she screwed Little Eva.
Okay.
I mean, she got $50 for that record. She was penniless. If it wouldn't have been for the oldies circuit in the 80s, she would have died penniless. But some promoter booked her on a big oldies show.
She made some money.
She made money. She had a manager that took care of her.
Look at Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Made money. Yeah.
I mean, did any band get screwed more than them?
Badfinger.
Well,
yeah. But you know what? After all these years, the record company finally had a sit-down meeting with John Fogerty and back paid.
That's good. He's like in his 70s now.
Yeah.
I mean,
but they signed him to a record contract, and like everything's groovy with them now. But after all those years, the new manager, the new owners of Fantasy Records said, we don't.
Unfortunate, his brother's dead.
Yeah.
I think another band member's dead. But John Fogerty showed you he needed money in the 80s. Well, he came out with Center Field. He came out with some good stuff.
Old Man Down the Road.
Old Man Down the Road.
Not his the record company.
Not his girls. I love that
And
song.
the old record company sued him for Old Man Down the Road because it sounded like Run Through the Jungle.
I know. And it was not. They were suing him for a song that he had written.
Yes.
It was just so messed up. But
the music industry is absolutely it's crooked. It's just crooked. They're cheaters. The record companies now, and I mean cheaters along with BMI and ASCAP and CSAC and all of them. Mm-hmm. They're just full of. And I got to sign that renewal again for the fake one.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Well, you pay these royalties, and you don't know that the artists are necessarily getting them, and the the bureaucracy is so huge. They give themselves so much money. I don't know what the artists.
Well, and the problem is there's only so few bands that can become so big that they can outdo.
Well, that's what they say.
To where they don't need them.
We put a lot of money out to invest in bands that don't go anywhere, and so
that's their argument. Yeah, no, I know. So, but all right. Well, back to sports. I wanted you saw the parents of the Maryland player
we had that on this morning.
They are
actually
demanding that coach be fired, and I don't see how you can't under these circumstances. I really don't. I mean, they've already got rid of the strength and conditioning coach. I don't know how you can bring DJ Durkin back and move forward.
They said, the coach came into our house. I'm going to take care of your kid.
Well, they all say that.
Yeah. And I mean, then they should be held responsible.
Mm-hmm.
If they make that promise to the parent.
My guess is he's going to be let go. They're just going through the proper channels. And I think the president, Wallace Lowe, who used to be the provost here, he made it pretty apparent that they're accepting full responsibility. Yep. And to me, if you're accepting full responsibility, you got to clean house. You got to get rid of any semblance of that staff so you can move forward. You're not going to be able to move forward with DJ Durkin and the parents of Jared McNair, I believe that's his name, out there saying this guy should be fired. It will just be terrible. It'll be horrible PR. So I expect him to be sometime in the next 3 to 5 days. It wouldn't surprise me if they come out saying they're going to move on from him. And as far as Ohio State, I
don't think they're doing.
I have no idea.
Changed over. They were going to do it.
I think they would have done it by now. I think Suter might be right, but someone's going to pay the price. I think Urban, one or two of Urban's superiors are going to pay the price, and then Urban's going to he's a slime ball.
Yeah.
But what's so if it wasn't so sad, it would be amusing, is watching the Ohio State fans defend him on social media. Some of the logic they use to defend him, it's just, he did his job. Once he reported, he was free. And there's other people saying, hey, there's never been charges filed. That girl's been crying wolf. She lies. There's evidence left and right of her getting abused, including him acknowledging it on text messages, and they still refuse to acknowledge that. It's just, that's what I say about so divisive on issues. We're so bent on sticking up for whatever we believe in that we'll ignore just simple facts that may disprove it. And it's that way in sports. It's that way in politics.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Well, I know Maryland, when they started practice up again, they had 2 big tents set up with fans and lots of liquids and stuff, and they've reduced the practice time to like an hour and a half. So they've taken steps.
Yeah, they've taken steps. Now it almost sounds like you're overdoing it. I mean,
allowing frequent breaks and stuff like that.
They're hosing the players down after,
Listen, man, you've done football. You know what it's like.
I've done football to the point where I collapse. I mean, it's that. I don't think there's that much anymore, but it sounds like they were sort of still living in the past a little bit. But to me, it wasn't just the fact that this kid died from exhaustion. It was all the mental and verbal abuse that supposedly is so present out there. I mean, just some of the tactics they've used to discipline and punish.
See, and I never responded well to that.
I mean, some people do and others don't, but no. So the stuff about making them eat unhealthy food and that stuff, that
just is odd. It's just
it's like hazing.
It is.
It's
hazing.
It's hazing. That's a good way to put it. It's like fraternity hazing. That's what it almost seems like. And it's just, and you see a lot of high school. I mean, I see reports of high school teams taking the sophomores and freshmen, tying them to lockers or putting their heads in toilets. And I never had any stuff. I mean, stuff like that.
What was that story we had earlier this week about the wrestlers?
Dropping their genitals on the
kid's face
and urinating on it.
I would have.
Why would you do? And then the coach go, I don't know anything about bull.
Well, if
you've got they're in the practice room, they're in the weight room, whatever. They're holding him down. Somebody's urinating on him. You don't know. I'm sure those kids got up and cleaned it up.
But why would you want your genitalia to rest on one of your teammates'
No, exactly.
I don't know.
Why?
I didn't even like to bump into some of my teammates in high school. They were so gross.
Well, and you get in those group shower situations.
Well, that's one of those sickest stories I have from high school. Was sophomore year football. No, this was sophomore year basketball. 2 guys got into a fist fight, naked in the shower.
Oh, God.
And it was one of the grossest things. I couldn't eat lunch that day. I had nightmares. It just stuck with me for a while. I can still picture it right now. Big old white guy with blonde hair and a little Italian guy, and they were naked fighting in the shower, and it was a bad experience.
I remember a guy on my football team peeing in one of the other's shampoo bottles.
See,
and I'm like, what's the point?
Why
of
would
that?
you do that?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's funny. No, it really is.
Yeah, that's just a riot. Yeah, especially for the guy who gets to pour urine into his hair. I mean, just ridiculous. But no, this Maryland stuff is serious, and I think it's only a matter of time. But this Ohio, if they do keep Urban Meyer, I can't wait to hear how they explain it.
Yeah,
because they're going to get ripped.
Well, wouldn't they have got rid of him by now?
I'm beginning to think so, but we don't know. Each thing is unique to itself.
This isn't the Mueller investigation.
But each thing is unique to itself. Yeah, I'm getting to the point, man, I wish they'd get that finished, too. Well, aren't you?
Everybody does, yeah.
I just want to get it done.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. I don't know that's going to do anything.
Well, no, because even if they find him...
Then they got to get Congress to act.
But they could have him on video doing something wrong, and his base is going to still... But what's the alternative?
But you know,
I like how they go,
Mueller can't do anything but produce the report.
Yes, and then
it has to be up to the House and Senate.
And they're not.
do something.
And they're not going to do that because it goes. But who knows? Yeah. I'm just tired. I'm bored. I want to go to the next step and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm tired. Well, I don't follow the president on Twitter. Do you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't. But enough people.
But I follow enough people that it's not like the majority of my Twitter feed. You know. But
why do you have to follow that? I don't follow him. I mean,
because we talk about that.
Oh, I know. I mean, you obsess on it. I
don't obsess on it.
Well,
he comes out with something every freaking day.
You're sort of obsessed on the president. Jim, is he sort of obsessed on the president?
I think both of us are. And I think every day we come in here and we'll say, please, God, let's not have to go to CNN today about something that he did.
I mean,
and sometimes it's like you can't help it.
What's funny though is
we go to CBS and go.
You should go.
Today will be the day we don't have to go.
You should go. What's funny, and I've done this a few times because I didn't really know. And you know me, I've never been a Democrat or a Republican. But watch Fox for 15 minutes. Watch CNN or MSNBC. You'd think we're in two different countries.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Fox, their lead story will be the Antifa people beating up on a journalist, and in fairness, CNN won't even mention that. But then Fox won't mention any of the bad stuff about Trump, and that's all CNN dwells on.
Do you know what Fox did yesterday? We talked about it earlier. They came out. Aretha Franklin died. They came out that she died.
Oh, they ran a photo of Patti LaBelle.
Yeah.
Well, at least she was a black singer. They were close. No, but I wanted to ask because I know you're a hardcore liberal, and
I am not a hard.
Well, you're. But it is weird though that Antifa stuff. I don't know much about it, but CNN will never ever. Like they beat up a reporter and it doesn't get mentioned on CNN. Doesn't that concern you a little bit?
Yeah,
too?
It does.
It does. We're just so divided.
I don't like. I really am a moderate. I mean, I really am a moderate.
And to be fair, I follow Fox News on and CNN on Twitter.
Now, Sean Hannity is he doesn't want a unified country. I don't think. I think he wants this to. I think he thrives on it. That's how they make their money when things are this bad. But I don't know. I just cannot believe that we cannot figure out a way that there's not one politician out there that can try to bring us together. Well, he's not popular enough. Nobody cares about him enough to where but
it's not popular to get people together either. It's popular to scream and yell.
I know, but at some point that's going to have to end. And I don't know. What's it going to take? A war? That's what usually unifies it.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not the case.
Who's that guy, Delaney, that's running?
Yeah. Where did he come from?
You know, and
Big Ten commissioner?
He said, he said something really profound.
At least I heard of that guy.
He said something really profound this week. He said, if we got to figure out how to get the presidency away from the Republicans, maybe the Democrats should figure out how to win Iowa. And
Okay, but who's Delaney? Where did he come from? Other than he just bought a bunch of TV, I don't know anything about the guy.
And it's just so.
Well, maybe you should find out.
I just get so sick of hearing. I just get so sick of hearing. We got to get the control of the House back so we can start pushing our narrative again. It's just back and forth. It's just we're just so divided, and this seems getting worse.
Yeah, and it's not our fault per se.
No,
we are being led by what we elected. I mean, we are. Whether we elected Democrats or Republicans,
And he thrives on confrontation and divisiveness.
Oh, he loves
it. Yeah, because it keeps his name in the news, and he loves that too, good or bad.
Yeah, but he's the president. He shouldn't have any
trouble.
No,
he shouldn't, but
he doesn't understand. He really does not understand. He doesn't understand or appreciate what that means. He's not familiar with the Constitution or the separate.
Oh, no,
I'm
he's not.
I'm not saying this as a total libtard. He doesn't I mean,
I think even his
apparent.
supporters would admit that.
Yeah,
They counter that by saying, well, he's a great businessman who has America's interest, and I mean, the tariffs and all that stuff.
I'm a businessman. How do you think I could run the place? Jesus.
Well,
we'd be taken to the week.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I still don't trust. I still don't trust Russia as far as I can throw them.
You know what? You know what I think you would be good at is hiring good people around you.
Yeah, that's what,
yeah. Look at us.
Look at us.
Hello.
I'm telling you how you fix this problem.
Here we go.
Is all you do is add none of the above to the ballot.
And then elect them?
No, I'm serious. If you add none of the above to the ballot and none of the above win, then you got to hold the election again. That's costing people thousands, if not millions of dollars, and they're going to shape up and start putting some candidates in there that are worthwhile. Because that's right now corporate money controls everything. And corporate ain't going to keep wasting money if we keep voting none of the above.
Well, he does bring up a point.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that.
Is it Georgia where there's like 4 guys running for governor of Georgia in the Democratic Party, and only one guy's not a billionaire?
Yeah.
Honest to God.
I'm telling you, there are more millionaires and billionaires in Congress and the Senate than there aren't.
Yeah, they don't represent the American people in income, that's for sure.
No. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, you're a corporate. You know? That's the truth. That's who's
Yeah,
pulling
Steve, you're a
your
corporate.
string.
You corporate.
I'm a corporate.
Hey, I just coined that phrase, so if it goes big on CNN, it's my baby.
All right.
Goodbye.
He brings up an interesting point.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't blame Trump for winning.
No, he ran a good campaign.
He ran a good campaign. He knows
great
how to
strategy.
You know, and I think he took advantage of the circumstances and the time. I think
he knew that there's a large...
America was ready to embrace something way different than Barack Obama. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
I'm not saying that's good or bad.
And he also tapped into the bad part of the country.
But remember when he...
when I say that, he tapped into the white... We got to keep this country white.
Well, you said it the first time, the day after he announced his candidacy. Yeah. That's a code word for making America white again.
Yeah. Let's localize it again with Iowa football. Remember when he came out here on his campaign and the Iowa football players showed up and it caused a controversy?
Well, the Chamber of Commerce brought him out here with the city of Coralville.
Yeah. And they're right.
And, you know.
And if an Iowa player was there, whatever. I mean, that's their right.
And he made a donation to the local veterans. I wonder if they ever got it.
But didn't he say that Iowa football loves him or something like that? When CJ Beathard, the Hawkeyes love me here. So I thought that was kind of, but that's just good politicking. I mean, I think that's what he did. So, we've gone almost an hour straight without a break. This is like North Korea.
Did we mention Nate Stanley?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
20 or 3.
You want to take him? This is just like North Korea. They don't have any commercials on this. Oh, wait, we got a.
Where's the money?
We got a call. The money didn't call. They're very
hit and miss, kind of like my life story with money. Hit and miss.
Hello.
Hello, Pat.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. You know, what I kind of find funny is Gene Smith. He's like one of the few black ADs in a high university, and a rich white person's going to get him fired.
I hadn't thought about that.
Well, he's not exactly a poor black.
No, Carl, do you think, are you suggesting race is playing into this?
Oh, no, it's just we've seen it time and time before. The black person still gets to be the person that falls.
Yeah, and I think in this situation, it's more the more powerful person who just happens to be white. Would you guys agree or what? I mean,
I'm not seeing it as a race thing.
I don't either, but he does. There are a lot of cases.
Yeah, there are a lot of cases, but I don't. I just think that whether he was black or whether he was white, he would have been thrown under the bus anyway.
I do agree with you there.
All right.
I think Ohio State fans would throw any AD under the bus if it means keeping Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
But I do see your point, caller. I mean, I do, because it's happened a lot in the past.
It's happened before.
Yeah, it has.
You're right. But I don't think in this case.
All right. Well, I just thought I'd throw that out.
No,
there.
it's an interesting talking point. Got us talking.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of athletic directors,
here is I want to run the Jordan McNair.
Oh, is he back?
Did they?
They really didn't touch on it very much there. It's just it's right before the end of the hour, so it's a little short.
The parents were on CNN.
I watched it this morning
earlier.
Jordan McNair died back in June, 15 days after suffering a heat stroke after a grueling football practice. And earlier this week, Maryland school president came out and said the school was taking legal and moral responsibility for Jordan's death, apologizing to McNair's parents. And this morning, McNair's parents joined CNN's New Day, and they say head coach DJ Durkin should be fired.
Initially, you need to get rid of head coach Durkin. He needs to go. He needs to resign. He needs to be terminated. There's no way that as a parent, you send your child knowingly into an environment where your child will get bullied, knowingly. And if we had any idea that would be the case, or we would have made another decision.
Durkin is currently on administrative leave while the school continues its investigation into the circumstances surrounding McNair's death. ESPN reported last week that Maryland's football program had a toxic culture detailing allegations of verbal abuse, bullying, and a general disregard for the players' well-being. Durkin has not commented on the ESPN report since being put on leave. And McNair's parents have started the Jordan McNair Foundation. Their goal is to try to promote awareness and educate parents and student athletes about heat-related illnesses. And you can check out their mission at thejordanmcnairfoundation.org.
Very sad. And with what that father said, you can't keep him here. You can't bring him back because they wouldn't be able to function. I mean, kids aren't going to go there. I mean, he's damaged goods. I don't care what Will Muschamp down at South Carolina says about unnamed sources and what have you. DJ Durkin's damaged goods. You can't.
No,
Urban Meyer's not damaged goods. Urban Meyer will still be able to survive and coach, sadly and regrettably, because I do think he should be gone. DJ Durkin would be a dead man walking, and it would not work.
Right.
We've got to get rid of him. I feel bad for the parents. I mean, and there's a difference between working and pushing and bullying. And I think what was going on at Maryland sounds more like bullying, degrading, disparagement. It was a lot of that.
I don't get that. I don't get
you
why
can still
people
work
think
people,
that's going to work.
I don't get it either. I've never understood what these coaches, when they get into these, they get these dream jobs that they've aspired to all their life. DJ Durkin had $1 million a year. I mean, he had such a great opportunity, and to allow that stuff to happen is just beyond me how they do that. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, in their feeble minds, they think that kind of motivation is good, and but it's
obviously it's not, and it's going to be expensive for all of them because DJ Durkin will never have another probably prominent head coaching job again. I just think he's damaged goods.
Well, he shouldn't.
Now he'll go and his buddies. He'll be somebody's coordinator in a year. I'm not saying he should never work again. He'll be making probably $600,000 a year as somebody's coordinator.
But he shouldn't be a head coach.
He probably shouldn't be. No, I think he had his chance and he blew it, and it cost a family. I mean, it's just I feel so bad for the parents. They're like my age.
Well, you can't even imagine. I couldn't even imagine.
Right, losing your kid to a football practice. Yeah, I mean, it's happened before. We know that, but
it has happened before. But
it doesn't seem to happen.
In many cases, it's been something that
enlarged heart valve, stuff like that,
that
physical defect or something. But I don't think it happened. It doesn't seem to happen as much as it used to. I do think there is more of a concern and an awareness about stuff like that. But you still read every year, high school, 17-year-old died. But lots of times, 2 weeks later, you'll read a follow-up story and it'll say he had something, but not always. Right. And this one was 106-degree body temperature. That killed him. Your body's not meant to be at 106 degrees. And they just kept running them and running. I'm sure by May 29th, June, it's probably pretty warm. Maryland's weather is probably similar to ours, isn't it?
They said it was 80 degrees.
Yeah. 80 degrees, but what was the dew point? See, that's
who knows?
That to me, that's the temperature.
Well, and you're wearing pants and a uniform.
Then they're running, even if the temperature's lower, and that happened to them, then they're running them harder than you can imagine.
Yes.
Right.
And 80 degrees is not cool by any means. And
No.
if the dew point's 60, that could be some pretty uncomfortable conditions. But no, it's just really sad. My guess is it's a heads up and a reminder to every head coach out there, though. Hey, I know we all want to win, and these guys got to be in good shape, but these are kids that we've entrusted their parents, and you got to know when to draw that line. And like we've talked about the Iowa Rabdel thing, that could have been a disaster. I mean, they were very fortunate, but the difference is I don't think there was any bullying and anything sinister going around with the Rabdel. Iowa just made a mistake by doing a workout that was just a little bit too extreme, and they've never done that workout since then.
Well, and see, that's the idea. That every time there's something that goes on like that, they take steps to prevent it from happening again. It's just like this whole protocol with the athletic department, and they've got people coming in and not investigating, but auditing the athletic department and all departments in the school about hiring practices and following up and making assessments of the employees on a regular basis and things like that. And the athletic department, they found some irregularities, but they pointed them out, and I'm sure you've experienced that there's no like sinister.
Well, I never thought there was in the first place.
Right.
They were doing that because they had to in response to the Jane Meyer and Tracy Griesbaum situation. But I never. I mean, Barta made some bad mistakes. He didn't document things.
And that's exactly what
he set
we're
himself
talking
up
about.
to look like he was being prejudiced when I really don't think he was. I
think by not documenting things, I get it. He wanted her to move on.
He wanted her gone.
Yeah, and if you got,
but you had to be around there, and I'm around there enough covering the beat to know what the environment was. She was not well liked. Not many people liked her over there, and I don't think it had anything to do with who she was or what she believed in or her private life. It was just they didn't like working with her, but they learned their lesson. Gary learned his lesson. You got to document stuff. You can't just shuffle people around and not have paperwork to explain why you're doing that because it could come back to haunt you. And he picked the wrong person to mess with Jane Meyer and Tracy Griesbaum. They weren't going to take it. They were going to, and the jury believed in them. And so I think Iowa learned a very expensive lesson on that. And now you have a situation like that again. You got to document everything in this state. Well, anytime you should document stuff that serious.
Yeah. And we got such a great program, something to be proud of.
It really is. I mean, I don't want to get overboard. I mean, no, you're right. I think morally, Iowa athletics is fine. I don't think there's any problems with corruption or anything. No, I think they could be better. I mean, they're always at the bottom, near the bottom of the Big Ten and the government cup standings for most all-around program. But as long as football and basketball are satisfactory, I don't think people really care about that. But right now, basketball is not satisfactory. But there's always room for improvement. But no, I don't think there's any ethical or any serious moral problems within the Iowa Athletic Department. But you can never become complacent. You always have to be proactive because you can't just assume anything. I mean, we should learn by now over the last decade that anything can happen. I mean, when you look at this Jerry Sandusky thing, I mean,
Jesus.
Joe Paterno was untouchable 10 years ago. Now he's a dead pariah. I mean, he's damaged goods, and Joe Paterno, you don't even think about. All you think about with me with Joe Paterno now is Jerry Sandusky and child rape. I don't think about all the victories. I don't
No.
think
And
about
you shouldn't.
that. And you shouldn't really, because it was just a.
But there's still people there in Happy Valley that want the damn statue returned.
Oh, I know. I mean, I that's what I'm talking.
And they can ignore child rape.
They don't ignore it. They try to justify it by blaming others or explaining, well, he did his part. What more is he supposed to do? I mean,
yeah, he did his part, even though he knew about it in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
And hello.
Hey guys, I have a quick question, and maybe I'm off base here. Maybe I'm looking at it a different way. But with all the stuff that's happened in the Big Ten, and like if a coach does something wrong, the AD or the president takes the fall and yada, yada, yada. Well, you got ADs taking falls, presidents, coaches not doing what they're supposed to do with rape and everything that's gone on, players dying. Where the hell is Jim Delaney, and why is he not held accountable? All this is happening under his watch for all the great things he's done for the Big Ten.
It's a good question. And not only that, I mean, Jim Delaney's the one that kind of spearheaded the effort to soften sanctions against Penn State. Jim Delaney's in it to make money. He wants to say all the right things, and But wouldn't you got John? I mean, he's a businessman. He looks at the Big Ten as a business, and he's strictly in it. I think mostly for the money, and I think that's why they softened on Penn State. I don't know how any other reason you can give to explain why they didn't make Penn State go through all its punishment. I don't. It's money. They needed that brand back. They needed the Penn State brand back. No, Jim Delaney's a businessman. I'm not. He's no moral standard. He's in the big. They can hide behind this thing that we're out here to make lives better for kids, and that's part of it. But Jim Delaney's number one goal is to make money for the Big Ten Conference.
I understand, I totally get that. I mean, money makes the world go around, but and making money and being a businessman and the moral this, that, and whatever. But to me, there's a certain point to where, I mean, and the way this country is and the world works and everything that goes on, I guess it's all about making money, but at the same time, and people always like to say, yeah, but the kids, or this is going on. But, I mean, there's zero accountability for anything.
Well, and it's all about winning, too. I mean, the reason Urban Meyer, if he does survive, is going to be strictly because he's won enough games to where fans are pretty much willing to overlook just about anything to keep him in, especially if somebody else takes the fall, because that will ease the fans' conscience a little bit. Oh, there's people suffering, but it's not Urban. I mean, if Urban Meyer was not 73-8, if he was fit,
all right, guys.
If he was, yeah, thanks for the call. I mean, it's simple. I mean, Urban Meyer has won enough to where his fans are willing to look the other way on about anything.
I think this whole country is in. I mean, look at the country. Well, seriously, look at.
You think Ohio State's a microcosm of the country? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
look at the guy is the president is proven on tape to be an abuser. By his own words, separates the families, tells over 4,500 lies since he's been elected, bona fide, verifiable lies.
And his base doesn't care about anything.
And they don't care. They do not care.
Mm-hmm.
He name calls, he bullies, tears down people of color in a ridiculously, unproportionate way, and they don't care. Period. They don't care that kids don't have their parents, that they haven't been reunited, that they were separated when they're seeking legal status here.
Mm-hmm.
It's legal to seek asylum. We signed a treaty. We're supposed to live by that treaty with other countries.
But no, the caller's right though. I mean, I don't want to rip Jim Delaney, but let's don't make Jim Delaney out to be something he's not. He's Big Ten commissioner means, hey, make as much money for this conference as you can, and that's what he's out to do.
But there's got to be a moral high ground.
I think there does have to be, but right now there doesn't apparently have to be.
But does he have the authority to do anything like that?
He and the NCAA basically got together. They're the ones who softened the sanctions.
Well, heaven forbid if Ashton Kutcher runs into some players that are visiting here, that you got to jump through hoops, or
what they do, take a picture in the press. That was so stupid.
And you can so they ignore the child rape. The NCAA was really enacted when it was enacted to make sure that athletes weren't given preferential treatment in the classroom. Well, Joe Pa himself, by over 100 instructors during his time, said he made them change grades. So, and the school went along with it. The school knew about it, that knew that they were graduating kids that didn't deserve it. I mean, it's a cesspool. That's just a cesspool, and the NCAA didn't do a damn thing.
And a lot of those people that are making those decisions, where do you find them all Sunday morning?
In church. Yeah.
And speaking of church, boy, that story in Pennsylvania is just. And I'm a Catholic. I'm a Catholic, former altar boy.
Doesn't it just turn your stomach?
And thankfully, I can say no priest ever. I was around priests a ton growing up, and thankfully, none of them ever did. And I guarantee you, had they did, they would have been answering to my dad in a heartbeat, because my dad would have believed me, and I would have said something. I think they always say you never know until. If I would have seen priest trying to unzip. I mean, I've been out of there so fast and home and said, Dad, and boom, it would have been on. But what a horrible story.
Catholic Church has got to let them get married.
I'm beginning to my sister said the same thing to me yesterday. And I was born and raised a Catholic. I went to a Catholic school. My brother went to a Catholic school. All their kids went to Catholic school. So, I mean, we're very Catholic. My dad was as Catholic as you could be. But this is just, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of bad stuff, and that is one. I will say I'll give sports credit. Sports is still a pretty nice diversion. It still is. I mean, we're going to be so excited when that first football game comes out. You're just going to be able to forget now. If they end up losing to Northern Illinois, then it's pitchforks and get rid of the Ferences, but that's just the world we live in. You imagine if they lose to Northern Illinois, what it's going to be like?
Not just Kirk, the whole damn family.
It'll look like Frankenstein.
Yes. Fire Barda, everybody. Fran. They're going to blame Fran for.
And the people that were cheerleading the loudest on the message boards will be the first people to turn.
If they lose to Northern Illinois, it's going to get ugly fast, because then people are saying, great, we're going to be 0-2 after Iowa State. I mean, they got to win this. I still think they are, but it's not a gimme. There's been times in the past.
It is definitely not a given. They're an explosive team.
There's been times in the past where an Iowa-Northern Illinois game was a gimme for Iowa. Those days have been gone for over 2 decades. Northern Illinois has been competitive in this game the last 4 times, so... But, boy, if they lose that opener, it's going to be just... Imagine Bud and Suter. Who will be worse off, Bud or Suter, if they lose?
Bud.
Seriously?
Bud may have to be hospitalized.
What will Bud do if they lose? Will he lash out at fans? Will he lash out at people?
He will lash out. First, he'll turn
press
on
citizen.
the security. Yeah, then he'll say, why don't you get rid of that Hardy at the Press Citizen? Damn Hardy.
I'll never forget when he called and said, that paper's going in the crapper, Hardy. And you're going in right with it. That's what he said.
Well, you hold all this crap in.
Well, how would you not remember that?
How do you not remember that?
He remembers Anthony calling him a pussy.
I never heard that. Feeney told me about. I never heard that.
Feeney narked
on Anthony. Hey, that little guy's calling you a puss. Never gone over the middle before to catch a pass. Because I had the audacity to question something about Iowa football. Because Anthony, you said, was just a big, sick, sloppy homer, right? Was he worse than Suter as far as being a homer?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't have thought that.
No.
I mean, he talks so much crap about everybody else, but then he draws the line at Iowa football.
Yes.
Yeah, see, he's a phony. But no, I think they're going to win this opener, but I'm telling you.
And then he got married during he
Tyler's
always would get he always would get on the air, and you were like you were like a traitor if you who's the guy that just got bounced from security? What's his name?
From security.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
the intelligence.
Struck.
Brennan?
Brennan. Brennan. Yeah, he would talk, just like Trump talks about Brennan, he would talk about anybody that got married during, a Hawkeye game.
And then he did it?
And then he did it.
Well, Tyler's getting married on the 13th of...
What the hell?
They're idiots.
On the 13th?
Tyler's getting married on the Indiana weekend. He's getting married on on a football Saturday. Tyler.
I guess tomorrow's like a huge wedding day because of the numerology. 8-18-18. If you backwards and forwards, it's the same.
Should ask Feeney how busy he
Dick
is.
Clark got married 7/7/77.
And his wife was she born in like 7/7/67?
No, yeah.
They were about the same age?
Yeah.
Okay. Just kidding.
He just was that his first marriage at that time?
No, that was I think his third.
Okay.
But that was the last one. Yeah.
So did you play a lot of Aretha Franklin yesterday?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you don't normally play her much, do you? With your
No, just the 80s stuff. But
Who's Zooming Who?
Yeah.
Play that before we leave
He's
today.
been playing. He played it already. He'll play it again. He doesn't remember
play it on
what
this
he's
segment
played.
Because we're going to YouTube this nonsense?
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to YouTube this nonsense. Hello?
Yeah, Pat, when do you and Suderman going to have your call-in show for the picks?
Well, we got to get Suter back. I mean,
It'll be
a week from today.
A week from Saturday.
He's like Haley's Comet. He shows up about every 74 years. No, good reminder. We are running out of time. We need to get it.
Yeah.
We'll have to do it. We have one Saturday to do it.
Yeah, we'll have to do it next.
We'll do it next Saturday. Thanks for the heads up.
Well, you can't call Roy Clark or Joan Rivers to set in for him. So,
Hey, speaking of Roy Clark, hey, thanks for bringing him up. I was surfing and I turned on Hee Haw.
Yeah.
And it was Roy Clark going down the road feeling bad with a black guitarist. What was his name? Oh, skinny guy. Oh, I cannot remember. And it was incredible. They played for like 3 minutes, and I could not believe how good Roy Clark was.
Oh, he's tremendous.
But this black guy, what was his name? It wasn't Chuck Berry. It was not somebody really, really famous, but sort of famous, because when I Googled him, and a bunch of stuff came up, and I cannot remember his name.
I'll watch the old Hee Haws because
It's great music.
Yeah.
And Johnny Cash.
Yeah. And Johnny Cash was on, the first show he ever did was on Get TV.
Well, I didn't realize what a good guitarist Roy Clark was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. His guitar playing in this thing
he's
was incredible. Yeah. He knew it, too. But they jammed. They did this for like 3 or 4 minutes on this show. Now TV's so, it seems like you can only do something for so long, but they did the whole song, and it was amazing.
I can't remember. He backed up some famous rock group back in the 60s.
Roy Clark?
They needed him in on a session. And he went in on.
I could see how after watching.
I can't remember.
I mean, he seems like he's kind of like similar to Glenn Campbell.
Yeah.
You kind of typecast him and don't think about that, but boy, he was jamming.
No,
and if I Googled Roy Clark, Hee Haw, going down the road feeling bad.
Buck Owens was a great.
I knew that.
Too.
I could get the name of the black guitarist that was with him. He died in like 1984, really skinny, wore like the Graham Parsons type of, those outfits they used to.
Lightning Hopkins.
No, it wasn't him. If you said the name, I'd know it. He was from. I thought he was from Texas.
T-Bone Walker?
No, it wasn't T-Bone Walker, because I'd never heard of this guy before. And Captain Google, Roy Clark, Hee Haw, duo, Going Down the Road Feeling Bad was a song he did, and if you said the guy's name, but this guy was great too, and his sound was so different than Roy Clark's, and they complemented each other perfectly. I ended up watching the rest of Hee Haw.
Hello?
Was it Johnny Guitar Watson?
No, it was not Johnny Guitar Watson.
Okay, sorry.
I've never heard of Johnny.
Yeah, I have.
Good guess, but if somebody said his name, I'd know it. Now, who's Johnny Guitar Watson? What did he?
He's a blues guy.
Okay, all right. You still looking, Captain? Or you? I think he's sexting right now.
Somebody's calling. You could.
Well, when he's sexting, he needs both hands when he's sexting.
I just did duo, and it's a black guitarist, and it just comes up a bunch of videos.
Did you type in Hee Haw?
Yeah. What's
Clarence
the name?
Gatemouth Brown.
Was it Clarence Gatemouth?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Gatemouth. That's right. Gatemouth. Yes.
Okay. Clarence Gatemouth Brown.
Did you find the video of it?
Yeah.
He didn't die in '84, though.
Maybe he lived a little longer.
Yeah, he'd been around. He was around in the till the late '80s, wasn't he? Or early '90s?
Okay. He comes and he comes to the Blues Fest. We're broadcasting the Blues Fest in Davenport, KFMH, and live stuff. And he's like the big act. It's 10 o'clock at night.
Waiting for the fireworks to
start. Yeah, we're waiting for the fireworks. Here's Clarence Gatemouth Brown. I don't remember how old he was, considerably older than his wife. And he brings up his 5-year-old daughter.
Granddaughter, wasn't it?
I think it was his daughter. No, it was his daughter. He had a 5-year-old daughter, brings her up, and has her do You Are My Sunshine.
He died in 2005.
Wow, he lived that long.
Well, so the kid starts singing You Are My Sunshine. So the kid can't carry a freaking note. It wasn't cute. And I'm turning around, I'm going, why? I'm broadcasting this crap. It was horrendous.
He lived to 81 years old.
Was it his daughter or his granddaughter?
This is the...
Yeah, we can't hear that on
we can't.
Otherwise, we got to shut down.
I'm just listening for my own enjoyment.
So he always looked like he was about ready to die because he was just old and skinny. But he was only that would have made him only in his 65.
Oh yeah,
so it must have been his daughter.
I think it was. It was his daughter because his wife was like 25 or something.
Well, plus certain people look. I mean, Willie Nelson has looked 80 for.
God.
Willie Nelson has looked 80 for 40 years. I mean, hasn't he?
But this kid came out and it just wasn't cute.
Did you tell Gatemouth that?
I said, "Hey, Claire,
where's Rory Clark when we need him?"
Well, next time, marry somebody your own age. His kid should be like 40.
So he was like in his 60s and his wife was in her 20s?
I think so.
Yeah, he put out an album in 2004 just before he died.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
What was it called? Just Before I Died?
Just Before I Died.
Timeless. Which he wasn't.
Which he wasn't,
his time was almost up. Wow.
It was the worst thing.
It was bad, and because I wasn't with you guys yet. I hadn't started working with you guys yet, but I was down the road sitting in a parking lot waiting for the fireworks to start. I'm like, and my kids are like, "Daddy, what is this?"
So what year was this approximately?
It's probably 87 or 88.
7 or 88. Yeah. Sean goes, "Well, I'm just going to go up there and take the microphone away from her."
So he was in his 60s.
You can't.
He was in his 60s.
Yeah. That's how he started off his set.
But then he eventually started playing, right?
Yeah, but he
had a unique sound to him.
Yeah.
He was different.
But he did some crap too. He did some crap songs on there. It was a terrible performance. It was. Honest to God, I haven't heard a worse performance since yesterday's gym class. It was
wow. I was wondering how he was.
An hour and 20 minutes.
I think that means we're about done. I mean, you got that shot in. Since we didn't take a break, can we end a little early?
Yeah, he's begging.
No one's called in calls of stop.
Every time you ask if it's going to end, somebody calls.
And they do that, I think, to well, we'll see. Maybe this is somebody who wants to learn something or to share something. Learn or share. That's what we're all about.
Hello.
Good morning, fellas. How you guys doing?
Hey, Terry.
Great.
Are you here to learn or are you here to share?
Well, I'm sorry, what?
Are you here to learn or are you here to share?
I'm here to learn.
Oh, God. Okay, what do you got?
Not to make light of what happened out in Maryland. It's tragic and it's sad. But do you guys ever recall, I went through high school in the early, mid-'70s. We had two-a-days, and one of those practices was in the heat of the afternoon. And I'm sitting back trying to reflect, and, you didn't ever hear about football players dying in practice in high school or college. Do you guys recall anything?
Well, but I don't think things were reported near as much as they are now, too. I think there was times that it happened and we maybe didn't hear about it. But no, I know where you're coming from, Terry, but I think it's been a problem.
There was a kid in Durant that died during a practice, maybe in the 80s or 90s.
Of heat?
Yeah. But, he died in the heat. They found out later he had, a heart problem.
I grew up about the same time, and I did go out for football my sophomore year, and we practiced those two-a-days in the heat.
It sucked.
And not only we were dealing with the heat and the humidity, but we were down along the river, so we had mosquitoes that were the size of softballs coming in.
And they don't do two-a-days anymore.
No.
They don't. They've made them. So, I do think, though, things weren't reported as much as that's got to be the case now, isn't it? Partly,
yeah.
Because back then you had 3 TV stations, you had no computer. Think about it, and if it wasn't reported on a TV station or on the news, where was it reported?
Right.
Radio, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, that was it.
Wouldn't get picked up on.
Go ahead.
We had our two-a-days, and if you screwed up, they withheld water.
I know.
They have no longer have two-a-days. The training regiment, the coaching styles have all changed. And, I look back, and in ninth grade we had a football player that, if he got ticked off at you and you were down in your stance, he'd come up and kick you right in the butt and tell you to get off the ball, get off the ball. He'd grab you by your face mask and shake your head.
Oh,
like
yeah,
your
we
head
had
was
that.
on.
We had that too.
And that coaching style is gone. I mean, I'm sure there's still some coaches
There's
out
some,
there
but
that try that.
if you're not winning big, you can't get away with that now. Because in the old days, you always hear you tell a kid to run through a wall, he'd say, sure. Now they say, why? Times have changed. I mean, and I'm not necessarily criticizing kids. I mean, but kids are different now than they were. Wouldn't you agree? The environment's different than.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you see some of that in some of these larger schools throughout the state, where they say, well, our participation numbers are down, our levels, not only just football, but in a lot of sports. And you go in and you ask the kids why, and they say, well, I don't want to put up with the BS, you know?
Sure, I'm sure
no
that's part of it.
motivation for 'em, but
No, I'm sure that's part of it. I mean, some kids just don't want to deal with that. I've never been a coach. I never had any desire to coach. I don't think I would be a good coach because I think I'd have a real problem yelling and screaming at kids. I just really would. But no, it's an interesting discussion. The thing I will say with Jared McNair, Jared McNair was a big man. He was about 300 pounds. Athletes are different now. I mean, his body, he was huge. I mean, he was a big kid, and I just think sometimes you have to take that into account. And I don't want to say like I'm prejudiced against linemen over receivers, but to me, a receiver is going to be able to handle running wind sprints better than a big, huge lineman. Right. I think sometimes you have to treat these things on a case-by-case basis, but I think what's really hurting this thing, Terry, is if, let's say this just happened on just one day in a practice where nobody was complaining about being over, kid just dropped and died, and they had no other reports of abuse or anything, I don't think this would be...